Hi everyone, this is Ms. Titus, and along with Ms. Belamovich and Ms. Modal, we wanted to welcome you to Algebra 1 and tell you how excited we are to work with you this year as we delve into another year of math. This year you will be experiencing a new way of teaching and learning called the Flipped Classroom. This video will talk about what a flipped classroom is and what you can expect this year, but first let's talk about why we're making the change. In a traditional math class like the ones you've experienced up until this point, students sit in rows or groups facing the front of the classroom and listen to the teacher present the lesson for most of the period. They're assigned a set of practice problems to bring home to do for homework, then they come back to class the next day and follow the same routine. We've come to find that this is not always the best way to help our students learn for many reasons. Let me talk about 3 of them. First, students all learn at different paces. When I would teach a lesson to the whole class, there would be many of students who did just fine. There would be some who understood it quickly and wanted me to move on. They got bored. Then there would be several who learned at a slower pace and needed more time than we had in class to process the information. In a traditional class, I wasn't able to reach all of my students every day. Secondly, students often bring home practice problems for homework that they don't know how to do on their own quite yet. This means they either find someone to help them, they write down a bunch of numbers and make it look like they did it, or they copy a friend's the next day. Either way, the practice problems don't help students learn the material at all. Thirdly, students miss class throughout the year for a variety of reasons, whether it's illness, sports, or vacation. After they miss class, students have to come in on their own time to learn the lesson, and the teacher has to re-explain everything. It's a big deal when you miss a math lesson, because lessons often build on one another. The flipped classroom addresses these issues that we run into on a daily basis. So let's look at what the basics are. The flipped classroom is a place that's completely student-centered and focused on your needs rather than on me. But what does that mean? Well, what's normally done in school is now done at home, meaning you'll get the lessons at home via video. You can watch them on a computer, mobile device, or television if needed. You take notes during the video, making sure to pause, rewind, rewatch, or even fast forward as needed. The lesson is fully at your own pace, and you are in charge of your learning. You're not expected to master the material by watching the video, but you are expected to understand the basics and bring confusing topics to class to discuss and get clarified. So what does class look like? Well, when you come to class, you're ready to discuss the material, ask and answer questions, solve problems, and apply the learning in a variety of ways. I get to walk around the entire period and help you, either individually or in small groups, clarify misconceptions, and ask you questions to make you think deeper about what you're learning. The end product is flipping the responsibility for learning and focus of the classroom time from the teacher to the student. In a traditional class, students are very passive. They expect the teacher to tell them what they need to do, when they need to do it, and how they need to do it. The teacher is generally in full control of everything that goes on. In the flipped classroom, the responsibility for learning is flipped to the student instead of the teacher. I have time to focus on you and help you in the way that you need it. That's what the flipped classroom is all about, focusing on the student and helping the student succeed in the best way possible. You're the one that matters most in our flipped classroom. Some of you may be thinking, that sounds great, let's get started. Others of you may be wondering why we're making the change. You're thinking, isn't what we've done the last 100 years good enough? Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not okay with being just good enough. I want to be great. Because of the flip, that will be happening. We're able to make the best use of our time together, help you learn how to manage your own learning, and challenge ourselves in ways we weren't able to in a traditional classroom. We can no longer settle with just getting by. Playing school and passing tests, surface level learning that's spoon-fed is just not enough anymore. I do know that change is difficult, and it will be rough for you at first as you transition to the expectations of a flipped classroom, but we'll be here every step of the way to support you and help you as you make the transition. I know that even though it will be hard, you'll get used to the new style of learning, and in the end, you will have learned math much better and deeper than you ever have before. The most important thing is to start off with a positive attitude and be open to learning in a new way. Wow, that was a lot of information, but don't worry, we'll be spending time in class over the next few days discussing questions and concerns and working together to make the transition to make sure everyone is successful. Let's have a great year.